So I'm really looking forward to jumpstarting my week in a positive way in both mind and body with our amazing speakers that we have prepared for you guys today. So don't forget, just stay on because at the end we'll have a prize drawing. So be sure to stay tuned in till the end. So before I get started, I just wanted to highlight some of our sponsors who are on the call today. We can't thank our sponsors enough for their dedication to our chapter, and without their support, we wouldn't be able to put on great webinars and trainings for all of our members and our community. So first off, I'd like to introduce Jack Chow with HSBC. Jack, are you on the line?
Yep. Hey, how's it going, everyone? Yeah, so do I just do a quick promo?
Yeah, feel free.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. This is Jack Chow from HSBC Bank. On behalf of HSBC, it's always an honor to continue to be a sponsor for ARIA, especially ARIA LA Coastal chapter. I hope everyone is healthy and happy during this interesting time of our lives. I personally gained a few pounds from staying at home, and I hope you guys are doing much better than I am. Before we get into today's awesome guest speaker and the topics about mental health and physical health, I just want to do a quick promo for HSBC Bank. As HSBC Bank, we are still lending to customers who are foreign national, new green card, new permanent resident with work visa, and U.S. citizen. For clients that are looking to purchase rate and term refi or cash out refinance on their primary home and vacation home, we are still doing business as usual with a very competitive interest rate and fees especially for our jumbo loan products. And then also for clients who have an existing or establishing a banking relationship, there's actually also an additional incentive on the interest rate and the credit for the closing. And for qualified clients, we also have a home equity line promotion right now. For the first 12 months, the interest rate is 1.74%, which is prime rate minus 1.51. For home equity line up to $500,000, there's no closing costs, do not have annual fee. And if you'd like to know more, please private message me your email and phone number, and we can discuss further. Wish everyone safe and healthy 2020. And back to you, Tiffany.
Thanks so much, Jack, for your continued support. Our next sponsor highlight that I'd like to introduce is Jimmy Wakimoto with Chase. Jimmy?
That Jack just mentioned. Hope everybody's staying safe. I know this is quite a different environment for you all, for us all. And I know just want to share a few things that are going on with Chase. I guess just like Jack mentioned, we are definitely open for business. As a matter of fact, last month was actually Chase's biggest month ever in Chase Mortgage. So that means that we're really doing a lot of business right now. We're busy. Certainly more heavy on the refinance side than the purchase side, but we are our production capability is right up there. So so we can do our refinances in like 4 to 6 weeks, pretty quick with that. And the purchases, we still have our 21-day closing guarantee. So what that means, it doesn't mean that you write a 21-day escrow. You can do a 30-day escrow, and just so we have our paperwork in hand, with 3 weeks to go, we guarantee that we close on time. Used to be $1,000, but we got really confident, and now we're actually paying $2,500 if we close a day late. So, and that's not to say that we're into sending out money. What it's saying is that well, just you guys understand that banks are not in the business of losing money. So it just means that we're taking closing on time really, really seriously. So you can be comfortable with a 30-day escrow in this time frame even, and we can close on time. And I'm sure you guys have heard that their credit box, they call their credit box, is tightening now for pretty much everything. Credit scores are going higher, down payments are getting higher, etc. So most of our purchases are at 20% down right now for the time frame during the COVID-19, but we still can do FHA at 3.5% down, EA at 0 down, Dreammaker at 3% down. So there are programs that we still have that can kind of complete the picture for helping you out here. And we also still have our $2,500 grant program where depending upon location of the property, we actually pay the buyer $2,500 so they can be applied toward down payment or closing costs. And then also lastly, we have a ton of co-branded material, just listed, just sold flyers and door hangers, other flyers that are program related and open house flyers, etc. I'm not sure we're not doing open houses still, but we can actually do a flyer that has the payment scenario in HTML format. You can just push that out to any prospective buyers as well. So here to support you in any way that we can. And I'm not sure who else is Chase on the call here, but just reach out to your Chase person and we'll be happy to assist you.
Thanks for that, Jimmy. We're so happy to have Chase's support. So next, I'd like to announce our wonderful 2020 chapter secretary, as well as our events chair, Cindy Tran, to introduce our first guest speaker.
Hi, everyone. If you guys don't know me, I am Cindy Tran. I am the Director of Operations for HomeSmart Realty Group. And as Tiffany just mentioned, Secretary as well as Events Chair. So thank you so much for joining us. This is our first quarantine event and we put it together in a week. So thank you so much to everyone. And Jimmy and Jack, if you guys wanted to use the chat box to comment your contact information, please take advantage of that. That way everybody can grab your information and reach out to you afterwards if they have questions. So I get to introduce our awesome next speaker or first speaker, who I feel like it's weird if I don't mention that he's actually my boyfriend. So I am upstairs. He is currently downstairs. And so he is a physical therapist, and what better time to have him guest speak than to do that now, because we're all feeling it, I think, a little bit in our shoulders and our backs. But I'll let him explain more about himself and get into his topic. So thanks, Christian, for doing this for us.
Thank you, Cindy, for the introduction. I probably could use your mic from upstairs. That's how close we are. But I appreciate the introduction. I do want to say first, again, thank you to Cindy and of course to Tiffany and of course ARIA as a whole for having me on this webinar. I'm super excited to basically share my knowledge with you as a physical therapist. A little background on me before we get started. I'm actually from Virginia. I graduated with my undergrad degree in exercise science from George Mason University in Virginia, and I graduated with my doctorate in physical therapy at Shenandoah University, which is basically also in Virginia. So hometown, and then I moved out here about 2 years ago now. Currently, I am working at an outpatient clinic in Jarrett Orthopedic, that's the name of it. It's out in Costa Mesa, actually, so not too far from South Coast Plaza. So if you're ever in town, come on by, stop in, get some treatment if you're ever having any pain on anything, and feel free to say hi, of course. But of course, without further ado, I think Jack kind of touched on this a little bit. We're in some weird times. So this is a great opportunity for us, as well as our other speaker today, to kind of teach you some of the basics about mental health and also physical health. So I'm going to obviously touch on the physical health aspect of things. Mainly posture. The reason why, obviously, our environments has probably changed within the past 2 months. You know, we're probably sitting a lot more now, right? So the biggest thing is being aware of our posture. You know, you probably hear this word posture a lot, and it's something that could be easily fixed, but it's not something we basically pay attention to on a daily. So if you understand why, I think you'll be more inclined to pay attention to why we should address our posture, right? Just like anything else. So let's go over kind of the basics as to why posture is so important. Posture, basically having good posture allows your joints, your muscles, and your bones to have less stress. Obviously, we don't need to add any more stress than we already do throughout the day while we're sitting down, while we're working, while we're doing whatever we're doing sitting down, right? So having good posture takes that, okay, and puts and provides less stress on our bodies while we are working. What else can it do? It basically can provide more blood flow, more oxygen, right? And more blood flow and more oxygen to our brains. What does that do? It improves our work capacity, right? Not only does it do that, it improves our moods. We're in a better mood, we can work better, right? These are all things that it relates to, basically. And, I'm trying to make this more specific to your environment, to your workspace, to what you guys do. Posture basically also gives off good body language, right? I'm sure some of you have maybe taken a body language class. When you're talking to clients, when you're talking to different people that you're networking with, body language is everything. If they can reciprocate that same energy to you, things are going to go forward great, right? So these are all things as to why posture is so important, aside from the health aspect of things. Good body language, right? Good language, good communication language, reciprocate that energy. So before getting into everything else, such as like exercises and all that, what is good posture? I've been talking about good posture all along, so what the heck is it? Let me share my screen real quick to give you what's called the 90-90 rule. And this is what I want you guys to get into your heads as to what exactly good posture is. So let's start. Can everyone see that okay? Thumbs up real quick. Perfect. So the 90-90-90 rule basically deals with your elbow, your hips, and your knees, okay? I've created this short, simple little diagram here of all these angles that we should create in our body, but simplify it, okay? Think about your elbows being at 90 degrees. Let's go back to geometry class. 90 degrees basically is that right angle, right? If we can keep our elbows at 90 degrees, our hips at 90 degrees, and our knees at 90 degrees, roughly around that 90 degree mark, that's gonna allow our spine to actually line up. So if you keep that 90-90-90 rule in your head all the time, with whatever work environment that you're in, your spine is naturally gonna line up, okay? Keep it short and simple, right? Just think about these things, all right? So let's go on to our first kind of tip, essentially. If we're working, most of us are probably working with laptops, right? So here, I've kind of demonstrated what we can do with our laptop. You wanna make sure that you're sitting all the way up in your chair, all right? To the point where your lower back is basically touching the back of that chair, and having your laptop right in front of you, okay? With the screen tilted down a little bit, okay? If you have that screen tilted down a little bit, naturally your eye view doesn't have to change, and you don't have to crane that, you don't have to flex that neck forward essentially, right? Causing more pain along that neck, okay? I know a lot of you also probably have maybe keyboards that you have set up, or maybe you're actually working at a desktop. So these next two will have to do with those setups, okay? One of them, all right, you can move that screen back. So the first and second pictures may not be that much different, but all I did there was push the screen back. So if you have enough space on your desk to push your screen back, that's gonna allow your vision, okay, to see a lot more. You don't have to bend your neck forward just to look down at your laptop, right? Keyboard's right in front of you. And that actually helped my elbow angle a little bit more when I moved that laptop a little bit back, okay? Setup number 3, okay? Take a book, take anything around you that's gonna create that elevation for that screen or that laptop, and move it up to your line of sight. Now we're really working on keeping that head focused with what's right in front of us and not flexing our neck forward, okay? So these are just some simple tips to really just fix your work area, because these are gonna be the work area or work environments that you're in throughout the day. So again, moving your laptop screen back, moving that laptop or that desktop display even further back with the keyboard in front of you, or elevating that display to your line of sight, okay? Simple changes, but very effective for your overall posture, all right? So now that we've talked about posture, let's kind of go over what are some simple exercises that we can probably do throughout the day. All of you are super busy throughout your day, and you don't want to take too much time from your day just to do exercises for the most part, right? I know even me as a physical therapist, I need to handle other things during the day and not always concentrate on exercise per se. So let's go over just a few exercises. I'm going to give you a list of basically 5 exercises that's going to be super effective, not only for your overall health, but actually it's going to be super effective for your current situation in quarantine. And when I mean your current situation in quarantine, sitting down a lot, right? Maybe on your couch, maybe working at your desk. These are going to be geared towards getting you out of that posture, okay? And working on the appropriate muscles to get you functioning better throughout the day, okay? And of course, decreasing your pain, right? So the first exercise that we'll go through is just a squat. I'm sure a lot of you have done squats. I can see people, some of you rolling your eyes already. Oh my God, the squat. Why the squat though? The squat basically, it's such a great functional movement because not only are you working on your legs, we're actually working on your back if you do it the right way, okay? So I'm gonna demonstrate real quick what proper form is with the squat. Just a couple techniques for you to pay attention to when you're actually doing your squat. So if you guys can still see me here, I want you to pay attention to basically here down as I'm doing the squat. Feet should be about shoulder width apart, okay? Lining up with my shoulders. And as I come down, my knees, my feet, and my hips are always gonna stay in a line together. I'm gonna move this down a little bit more so you can see. So as I come down in that squat, knees, ankles, hips, always staying in line with each other, okay? And then I'm coming back up, knees, ankles, and hips still in line with each other, all the way up. I'm gonna give you a little bit of a side view here. I want you to think about, almost it's gonna sound kind of funny, but thinking about sitting on your toilet as you do this. So you get nice and low, knees, hips, and ankles moving at the same time, and then coming right back up. Simple, keep it simple. Think about your knees, ankles, and hips, always staying in alignment as you do your squat, okay? So that's exercise number one. Super easy, super effective, and you can even add weight. You can maybe hold on to something while you're doing a squat to make things harder, okay? The second exercise that I would like for you guys to kind of also work on, you can do this on your floor or a hard surface, and I'm gonna demonstrate this on my table, my treatment table back here. This is called a bridge. So the purpose of a bridge, again, is to get out of that posture. Okay, we're always in this posture here. The purpose of a bridge is to get us out of that. Okay, so what we're gonna do, you'll lay down on your floor, okay, or some flat surface that you have. It's gonna look a little funny. Okay, my knees are bent, my hip is bent, and all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring my hip towards the ceiling. So watch this. Bring my hip towards the ceiling as far as I can. And now we're creating that straight line from our torso all the way down to our legs. Coming back down. That's one rep right there. Okay, so again, bringing my hips towards the ceiling, just like that. You don't want to go too much, putting too much stress on your back. You're just going to where it's a straight line from your torso to your legs. The reason why this is such a great exercise, aside from Jane Fonda teaching you, is that it works on your back muscles, it works on your glutes, it works on your overall posture. You're getting out of that posture, okay? And it's getting you into a better blood flow for your hips as well when you do that bridge, okay? So that's huge. That's a really, really good exercise, okay? So Jane Fonda was right all this time, okay? Listen to her. She taught some good exercises. All right, so my next exercise that I wanna also show you is called a plank. And I can see another set of eyes, all of you guys rolling your eyes again that, oh man, why is he teaching us a plank? Well, the plank is great because not only is it working on your core, right? But it's actually working on your deep core muscles. So we actually have core muscles that are the ones that people like to see. That's six-pack abs. When we actually do a plank, you're actually working on those core muscles that are beneath the six-pack abs, and they help realign and keep that spine stable. Okay, so a plank is a super, super great core exercise, super effective and easy to do. So just to go over some basics of a plank, you're obviously gonna be on a flat surface. You can do it on your hands or you can do it on your elbows. I like to do mine on my elbows. And you're basically bringing those knees up, keeping that core tight by drawing your belly button in, and you're just holding this position for a certain time. So usually start with maybe about 10, 15 seconds. So all we're doing, okay, starting position, bringing our hips up, knees out from the ground, and holding this position right here. You're working on those deep core muscles. This is why it's such an effective exercise, okay? Now you can make things harder. You can bring one leg up, the other leg up, one arm up, the other arm up, okay? Again, those are progressions. Start slow, start slow, all right? Now, we'll move on to another exercise. I'm just giving you 5 simple ones. So the next exercise what we're gonna do is called a Superman. Again, going back to why I'm teaching you these, they're getting you out of that posture. So going back to your flat surface, you're gonna lay on your stomach. Hands will be out in front of you just like so. And what you're gonna do, you're gonna raise those arms just like this, okay? and bringing it right back down. Now I also lifted my legs as well, okay? So what we're doing at the same time, lifting your arms and lifting your legs, okay? So we're here, boom. This is called the Superman. We're working on those low back muscles, those upper back muscles, those glutes, again, getting you out of that posture, okay? We're coming up on some time here, so I wanna speed things up. 2 more things that I wanna show you are gonna be stretches, okay? So the following stretch is gonna be great that you can do at your desk. And this stretch is good for your upper back, okay? Again, we're always in that forward posture here. So if we can get ourselves out of that, that's gonna be great for our upper back. So what we're gonna do, you'll be at your desk here, elbows on your table, scoot your chair back a little bit. And while my elbows are on the table, I'm gonna bring my chest down into the ground. Let me fix my angle here a little bit. Elbows on the table, bringing my chest down into the ground. So what that's doing is that's stretching that upper back, okay? Elbows on the table, chest going down into the ground. And then you'll come right back up. You can hold that for a couple seconds to really get a good stretch. One more time, chest down into the ground. All right, now for the last one, we're gonna stretch our hips out a little bit. And I'm gonna show you from a side angle here. What we're gonna do is that you're gonna place one leg on top of the other, okay? So it's kind of like in this cross leg position. And then what you're gonna do, you're just gonna simply lean your hips or your whole torso down into your hips there. So this is gonna get a nice stretch in your glute. Let me show you from the other side, or the other leg. Crossing that one leg on top of the other, and then leaning that torso down into your leg. So you're gonna get a nice stretch coming from this area of your body, okay? The number one thing here is keeping that back straight as you lean forward. You don't wanna do too much of this, because this is what we're trying to get out of, okay? So leaning forward, keeping that back straight, and coming right back up. Holding that again. So let me share my screen one more time. I'm gonna give you a list of everything that we went over, as well as the number of times, the number of reps and sets that you can everyone see that screen there? Perfect, let me open that up. Do that one more time here. And then there's the screen. So if you want to take a picture of that real quick, these are everything that we went over here. And these are just the suggested number of reps and steps that you could do throughout the day. Okay, so we'll keep it simple, short and sweet. I guess we'll open things up now for question and answer. Here's my contact information for anybody that wants it. Feel free to email me. Feel free to also follow my Instagram as well. I put a lot of health tips up on there, not just about posture, but overall physical well-being health tips. So feel free to give that a follow. If you have any questions about anything, feel free to contact me through that email as well. I'll, I guess, open it up to Cindy. Are we just going to do question and answer right now, or okay?
Okay, so we can go ahead and unmute everyone if you guys have a question, or if you have a question, you can comment it in the chat box. Does anyone have, or you can just, instead of unmuting everyone, you can just unmute yourself if you do have a question. Okay, we do have a question in the chat.
Sure,
what chair would you recommend for a work chair?
That's a great question. So a lot of people, I get that question a lot. There's not a specific brand that I would recommend, but what I would recommend is something that you're actually not going to get a lot of cushion in. I would recommend any chair that basically is a firm surface and a firm backing. And you want that, remember how we talked about that 90-90-90 rule? You want that backing to basically give your hips that 90-degree angle, okay? So with most work chairs, what happens is that they provide that kind of comfort in your back. So naturally, your position, when you're sitting down, you actually end up doing kind of this, where you're leaning back because it's so comfortable and you sink into that chair. So you want to make sure whatever chair, I don't have a specific brand for you, but whatever chair you do purchase, you're able to get that, again, that 90-degree angle, okay, and not letting your whole back sink into it. Okay, so I wouldn't necessarily, I would even work into using a regular metal plastic chair at first, and then maybe you can see something that's a little bit more, just to save you some time and some energy and some money, because those work chairs can be super expensive, but at the same time, they're not necessarily the best thing for your back.
Hey, Christian, I have a question over here.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I'm doing the book thing, under my laptop, but I don't have an extra keyboard underneath. So it's like this thing.
Yeah.
Is there a recommendation for that? Because it's different than what we're used to. Because I definitely feel this by the end of the day still. So
what I can already tell with your setup at home, your chair might be actually too high, or your table might be too low. So what I would do is that I would do the way where you would basically, I'll show you kind of a demonstration here. So what you're probably seeing there, you're kind of getting this here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
what we'll do is make sure that your chair is still low enough, but high enough to make sure where your shoulders are relaxed, you're here instead. Now, in your setup, since you don't have a keyboard, I would do this instead. I would actually move my laptop back, okay? And then I would scoot my whole chair up to my desk here. And now I'm still relaxing my shoulders. My back is still straight. My hips are still in line. But at the same time, I'm not having to do this so much. So moving that laptop back, scooting yourself towards the table a little bit more, that should be a little bit better of a setup rather than putting it up on the book.
Okay, sounds good. I'll test that out. Thank you.
So try that out first.
Cool. I might hit you up later. Thank you.
For sure, anytime.
Can I speak?
Yes. Yes, Mindy.
That was a fabulous presentation. Thank you so much.
No
Not
problem.
that it just helps bring awareness, and you're right about the chair, because I've gone through a lot of different office chairs over the years where you get the cushy one or the one that you thought was cool to sit in when you first, first hour or two is good. And then throughout the day, you're sinking into this comfy chair,
Exactly.
and all kinds of things started hurting. But what I was going to ask you is, once you set up, Dana, the way you did, let's say move back the laptop, I'm on a tablet, and it took me about 3 weeks of Zooming to realize, don't laugh at me guys, seriously, that I'm looking at it horizontal, but yet the tablet Samsung has its camera by Samsung. So that means I have to have it vertical if I'm going to look up like this.
Correct.
Instead of, and I can only see 4 people each way.
Correct.
So your idea of raising it so that your head is going up, because I'm constantly having issues, mostly on my right side, I'm sure, as I'm writing, and then looking, where it gets super tight in my shoulder and neck. So I don't think I have it raised tall enough to look up instead of always looking down.
And another thing, I actually have a couple brands, and I can, if you reach out to me, I'll get your information after this. I can recommend to you like some tablet holders. And that way they're super cheap, under like 15, 20 bucks. And you can basically just put your tablet up on that, and it also gives you that elevated surface as well.
Because it's on it's in a holder where it goes like the tablet itself's in a holder, but I still have it elevated about 2 inches off the ground, but it's still
probably not enough.
Down too much. Exactly. And then this doesn't help that I'm constantly like this.
Exactly.
Instead of looking at it like this, right?
Correct. Yes.
Non-stop, man. Yeah.
So do look, and
I'm creating it. I know I'm creating extra.
Exactly. And this may answer a lot of people's questions too. The biggest thing going forward is moving, guys. Your bodies aren't meant to stay in one place for more than 20, 30 minutes. We're made to move, okay? So whether you have a bad, positioning in your home environment, get up, go to the bathroom. Even if you don't have to go to the bathroom, go get a drink of water, do 10 squats while you're at your desk. I'm telling you, if you do that every 15 to 20 minutes, that's going to solve everything. You can do everything that you want when it comes to ergonomics, but if you just move, that's going to be the end all be all. And I'm
You're
sure
right.
I see
Yeah.
Melanie nodding her head there because movement's huge. It really is. That's what the body's meant to do. If you just move, do a couple squats here and there, it makes a big difference.
Yeah, because you're sitting on these Zooms one after the other. It's like,
I know, exactly.
yeah. Okay. Thank you.
I
Yeah.
got a question, Christian. Great stuff. When you're kicking back, watching a movie at home, how do you sit?
You want the real answer, or do you want the what I really
Well,
do in front of Cindy? Cindy will tell you.
my point is, I mean, this feels great, and I like to maintain proper posture as much as possible, but sometimes it just feels great to just
Oh yeah,
lounge, you know, and slouch and all that, you know. So
sure. Well, okay. So what you can do, and I'm sure you're laying down on a comfortable couch. Anything
oh,
really?
you mean when I'm watching TV or something? Yeah. I don't really lie down, but I you know, sit back and relax and lounge, you know.
So what I would do, John, I would take a towel, okay, roll up that towel, and what you'll do, it's gonna be a little funny because I got a big blanket here. You're gonna take that towel, John, and you'll roll it up, and what you'll do, you'll place that towel just at your tailbone. So your tailbone's right around here. Place that towel right at your tailbone as you lounge. What that does is that it actually places your sacrum in a better position, your tailbone in a better position, and it'll take pressure off that low back. So if you're lounging, you like that position, no, by all means, that's totally fine. But if you add a towel in that tailbone, it's gonna make a world of difference.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And then Christian, we have one more question on what do you think about stand-up desk? Is there one that you recommend?
I love it. I do have one that I recommend. I can't think of it on the top of my head. And whoever's asking that question, I will send it to them. But I think it's great. Standing also is a position that we do have to hold though while we're working, right? So even though we're standing, it doesn't necessarily mean that, okay, all our pain is going to go away. You have to make sure that you're also standing upright and you're not doing, because you can stand and you can also still do this at the same time. So even though you're standing, you got to make sure, okay, everything else is set to those standards that we talked about earlier, where your line of sight is still forward, your elbows are down here while your standing desk is going on. I'm telling you, if you get a keyboard, that solves everything. Kind of going back to Dana, is that your name, right? If keyboards are so easy and they're pretty cheap to invest in, but they make a world of difference because they allow you to change where you can put your screen and also where your elbows are positioned as well. But yeah, I will send whoever was asking that question the stand-up desk that we're.
And then there's one more question. Is there any prop you can use to keep your shoulders down, which have a habit to lift up as you think, write, etc.?
Yeah, that's a great question. So going back to those exercises, that's really what you want to concentrate on, number one, because if you're allowing yourself to do more of those exercises, you're actually going to strengthen your back more, which is going to, in turn, not allow you to do that. But obviously, because we're doing this so much, right? One thing that I kind of tell patients is think about it this way. You think about opening up that chest a little bit more. And I've done this with a patient, believe it or not. I've actually told them, if they have someone at home, take a tape, all right? And then tape your back while your shoulders are back. Tape your back. And then what it's gonna do is gonna give you that cue, that tactile cue that every time you bend forward, that tape is gonna be pulling on you. Okay, so all you're doing, shoulders back, put a tape literally on the upper back part so that it's nice and taut. And every time you bring those shoulders forward or even raise them up, that tape is gonna pull on your skin. There's actually a few shirts and there's a few devices that are created to buzz. I don't know if you guys have seen that before on Instagram or whatever. It buzzes when your shoulders actually start. So that tape is a very cheap method, but it's very useful.
Awesome. Thank you, Christian. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to comment and maybe we can circle back at the end. Christian will stay on, but I think we have to move on. So we'll hand it over to Tiffany. Thank you, Christian.
Thanks so much, Christian, for presenting. That was a lot of good information. I know you made it easy enough where I feel like I can manage and do the simple squats and planks, even though I've totally been lacking on working out and doing all of that. Thanks for making it really simple and easy. But I would like to announce Rachel next. She is on our board of directors as our 2020 affiliates chair, and she's going to actually introduce our next speaker for us. So Rachel?
Hey guys, Rachel with Corinthian Title. Christian, that was amazing. Seriously amazing. I've gone to physical therapists and I've done exercises, but the way you explain things makes you just that much better than anyone I've ever gone to. I mean, seriously, they hand you a ditto and off you go home and you're like, what? But the way you just explained it and how slow you went, thank you for taking the time for me who needs it in layman's terms. I'm going to use all of those exercises.
No problem, Rachel. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thanks. Well, guys, I am so excited to introduce you to Melanie Klein. She is a coach, an author, a speaker, an educator, and happens to be my coach. And let me just tell you that she has shown me to find gratitude in every moment of every day and just to find the greatness in myself. Don't we all want to be our best selves? I really am so excited to introduce you to Melanie Klein. Here she is.
Thank you so much, Rachel. And thank you again, Cindy and Tiffany and Aria. I really appreciate you, amazing ladies in this group. And before I go on, I just want to geek out on what Christian shared because I'll be going into a little bit of my bio in a moment, but I have a 24-year background, not only in academics and social justice, but I also went to the Institute of Psychostructural Balancing here in LA 20 years ago, and I have a long-standing physical yoga practice and meditation practice, which informs my work. So listening to him about the importance of how we hold our body in space, when Cindy was asking me if I wanted to go first or second, it made more sense for me to go second because there are so many essential elements, what Christian mentioned, that if we're going to, like Rachel said, really be our best self, we also have to feel good, right? So we can create empowerment from the inside out, but also the outside in. They work together. They're not mutually exclusive. And I know for me, having my 11-year-old son who is in my office now working, I'm constantly about like putting the shoulders back, having that erect spine, because the more that we constrict, not just from the structural elements, which Christian is so well versed in, but we begin to actually close in on ourselves. And it's very difficult, right? Christian was talking about posture and what that communicates to people, to truly be as radiant, bright, and expansive as possible if inside we're literally collapsing on our lungs or coming down on ourselves. So thank you, Christian. I was starting to take notes and I was like, oh, I want to send this thing to people. And I was like, okay, I'm going to focus on mine. But just understand how important that is, not just from the structural components, but for what I'm going to be getting into, which is really keeping ourselves centered, focused, and expanding in a time where I think people are so prone to shrinking their aspirations and their dreams. They're oftentimes feeling less motivated. What I really aim to do with my experience as an empowerment and mindset coach is to get people super centered and clear, right? Because as Rachel knows, when we do the inner work, the outer world absolutely transforms in kind. Absolutely, right? And so I really take all of the work from my, academic study, my years as a professor, which is almost 20 years at this point, my mindfulness and embodiment practices to bring them together so we can raise our consciousness. We can be super informed, super clear, and then we can embody that truth, right? So some of what you already learned from Christian is like, how do we feel in the body? How do we actually show up? We want to embody power. We want to embody the leadership. We want to embody strength or whatever it is that you're looking to cultivate. And from there, we can then take inspired and right action, okay? Because I'm not a fan of doing more just to do more. I'm a fan of having my clients and my students do the most effective and powerful things that are going to lead them forward. And so Christian was talking about, you know, these things are simple but really effective exercises. It's just a matter of doing them, right, consistently. And so same for me, you know, I want to just express that I'm going to share some very simple tools and techniques for you. The real trick is that you come back to them over and over again. And I always say to commit and recommit to the work that you have chosen to do, and you commit and recommit to yourself. How you feel, right? How you communicate, what you express, how you relate to others. And if you can do that over and over again, right, from the outside in and from the inside out, you will amaze yourself, even during this time, about what you can accomplish. Because I'll be very, very honest, in addition to supporting my clients and keeping their heads on straight, literally, that was the first 6 weeks. Like, can you all just keep your heads on straight, right? Keeping our heads on straight, serving our communities and our clients. And I'm going to say it, it's kind of, you know, a little bold to say, but, and make money, right? I have seen my clients' businesses continue to grow. I don't want to just have people be at the status quo or just keep them from teetering into the abyss, or what I like to call the rabbit hole, which I sometimes will circle around but don't quite go in anymore, right? I don't want to keep you just there. I actually know for a fact that if you do this work, you can not only stay centered, but you can thrive. You can absolutely thrive no matter what is going on. Because between taking care of your physical body and taking care of your mindset, you get to the point where anything can happen, anything, because life doesn't happen, right? We're human. We will have death, we will have illness, we will have challenges, but how do you show up for that? And that makes all the difference. I know for a fact that for me, had this pandemic happened even 5 years ago, definitely 15 years ago, I would be losing my SHIT right now, okay? I would not be in this place. And so for me, I'm like, everything's prepared me for this. I said that last year during a breakup. Everything's prepared me for this. I said it the year before when my grandmother died. Everything's prepared me for this. So all of that is to say, everything that you've done has prepared you for this moment. And Tiffany and Cindy, right, have been so generous to put this together, knowing you are all ready to use these tools to continue to grow. And the more that you continue to grow, the more you're going to be able to serve your communities and have the ripple effect. The more that you emerge calm and centered, the more that you lead, the more other people are going to relax, right? The more other people are going to feel like, oh, okay, especially your clients, right? Because we're in a business meeting here. Like, it's like, okay, I can trust this person to get me through the sale. Okay, I can trust this person to lead me and navigate me through the unknown. But what it means for you, you need to do the inner work in order to do that, okay? So with that, one of the most important things is to be grounded, to really, really ground. So I'm gonna just give you a very simple thing. Rachel knows, I tell my clients, do this all day, even when you don't think you need it, is if you take your 3 middle fingers on your left hand and you place it right between your nose and your lips, you take your right hand and you cup it. And you know, Christian, right there, the occipital ridge, right? The base of the skull. Gently cup it, lightly have those fingertips right there, right on the skin. Close your eyes gently and take some really deep belly breaths, right? Most Americans only use the top third of their lungs. So you're gonna inhale through the nose, breathing deep into the belly. Let that belly flop. No shame in that game, right? Let it go. And exhale completely. Let's just do that 2 more times together. And exhale. 1 more deep breath. Eyes softly close, belly expands. And exhale. Keeping your eyes closed, go ahead and put your hands down and just pause there for a moment and just see how that feels. Just checking in how that's maybe shifted, how you were feeling, what you were thinking. And then just gently open your eyes. Super, super simple. But again, right, going back to what we were talking about in the first part of today's presentation, but you actually have to do it, and you have to do it regularly, right? So I like to have my clients, when they're first beginning this, right, of getting very present, getting very centered, becoming very conscious, I actually have them oftentimes set a timer in their phone 3 times a day, right, where you stop, you breathe, and you ground. And what happens, right, consistently and cumulatively, is you will begin to do that without any prompting. When you have that moment where you're feeling a little off, a little wonky, okay, you will come back to like, oh, okay, I just need to get grounded. And when you get grounded, you have the ability to become so much more clear, so much more clear. So that leads me to the next thing. And by the way, points 1 and 2, which I encourage you to write down. I'll also put them in the chat box. Grounding, and number 2, which is get present. I'll be very honest, those can be substituted, meaning maybe you first get present and then you ground. Maybe you first ground and then you get present. What I mean by getting present is when we go into anxiety, or if we go into fear, right? Because that's been a huge theme with all the work that I've been doing in groups with my clients over the last 2 months, is like that anxiety comes, the fear. And when we come into fear, right, we also like close down. We want to become smaller. We don't want to be seen. It's like we want to cower in a corner. The body starts to turn in on itself. So if we can get present when we see that, feel that coming on, that may mean just touching your desk, right? Like just feeling that, or grounding your feet and getting present in that way. Like, okay, hold on. That anxiety or that fear is coming up, but I'm right here right now. And guess what? Right now I'm okay. Like, where is your mind taking you with that fear? It's usually anticipating something that has not happened, maybe couldn't even happen, or may never happen, but you're going into that place, you're going into what I call going into spin. So we just want to get present. And so sometimes that just means like, oh, okay, wait a minute. I'm right here right now. I'm not even in that scenario that I'm creating for myself, right? And then once you get present, you can either ground, or maybe you've grounded first and then you get present with what you're feeling, okay? Either way, the importance of getting present, whether it's number 1 or number 2, is you do not want to pretend that what you're feeling isn't actually happening, okay? What I mean by that is I'm not a fan of shoving things down, because guess what? It comes up later and it's bigger, all right? It comes up at a later time, unexpected. I'm not a fan of denial or any shame about it either. We don't want to make anything wrong. Number 3 is let it be and let it go. Whether you ground and then get present, or you get present and then you ground, once you get into that place and you're here in this moment, right? Maybe you close your eyes and you tune into what's actually happening right now in terms of the external. What's actually happening? Am I in that worst case scenario? No, I'm right here. Okay, what am I thinking? What am I feeling? See, what are those emotions? And what are those thought patterns that tie into those emotions? Because they go together. Sometimes we'll have a feeling and then we attach a story to it. Or we have a storyline come through and then we attach a feeling to it. But the truth is, when you get very present and you become very still, and that breathing that I gave you with the grounding, you just focus on the breath. And you're present. You might go, oh, actually, I'm just feeling sensation. I'm feeling sensation in my body. And honestly, that's a very unusual place for most Americans, I'd say most Northern Americans to feel, because we have been taught that the intellect reigns supreme. So when I talk about embodying, right, and being, it means like, well, let's actually see what the truth of that is. Is that story actually true? And for the most part, we find out it's not. And we can go underneath, right? I tell my clients, let's go underneath the thoughts. Let's go underneath the emotions. What is actually the sensation? Whether it's tingling, maybe it's warmth, maybe it's density, right? Maybe our stomach is churning. And the beautiful thing, and Pema Chodron talks about that in her work, is the life cycle of a sensation, a physical sensation. Actually, does anybody know? Does anybody have that info? Any idea how long that lasts? Cindy, I'm going to put you on the spot. Just take a guess. Like, how long do you think a sensation in the body lasts?
5 seconds.
Oh, that's really good. Close, but it's 90 seconds. Still a short period of time, right? But the point is, Cindy and I are talking in seconds. We're not talking in minutes. We're not talking in hours. And guess what? We're not talking in years. Most people, when a storyline comes through, when an emotion comes through, people attach to it, either out of fear and aversion, as my own meditation teacher would say, not wanting that to happen, or an attachment, wanting things to stay the same. Like, it's a sheer and positive, source of misery. Instead, if we can go underneath and we can just feel the sensation, oh, okay, I'm feeling lightheaded, I'm feeling a fluttering in my chest, then we can let it be without a story, without an emotion, without attachment, and we can let it go. But if we pretend it's not there and we shove it down, it stays in the body, right? It manifests in there and it comes out later in different ways, in different places, usually much more dysfunctional than the first time, right? So we want to be in it, shame-free, guilt-free, judgment-free, not labeling it, not going into story, and then making enough space, which is also why what Christian shared, being able to make enough space in the body and the mind to let it go, it becomes a much easier and quicker way to do that. 4, and I am watching the time, is neutral. Strive for neutral. I love this one. Okay, so maybe we have gone through this process of like anxiety has come up, fear has come up, right? We've gotten present, we've grounded, we've been in it, we've let it move through. And then it's like, let's just go into neutral. I like to call that sweet middle space, right? So instead of having these massive vacillations, like an extreme high and an extreme low, like, let's just be here in the center. The center is a beautiful place to be. It's powerful. Doesn't mean that we have any less joy or love or enthusiasm. It just means that we are more balanced. We have more equanimity, which is not only what we strive for in the body, but what we strive for in the mind. How can we be equanimous? How can we be harmonious? So neutral really cuts through any tendency for drama queens or drama kings, right? Which I have been, for us not to go to that place. Like, neutral's good. So that means if one of your clients or one of your colleagues or your lover or your partner has said something that starts to shake you, as opposed to going the storyline, you ground, you get present, right? And then you get neutral, and you can come to a very clear and clean response or a clean and clear solution. And as I always tell my clients, and you have less cleanup work, okay? And we want to make things really easy, and we want to make things flow. And that is a wonderful place, is strive for neutral. Next place, if you're able to, right, after neutral, is you can make a pivot, okay? You can make a pivot. So just be clear, neutral is a powerful and beautiful place to be. But you can also make a choice to pivot. And it's something I was talking about this morning, which is, how do you want to feel? What thoughts do you want to think? And a lot of people are like, well, I don't know, thoughts just come into my mind. Yes, they do, but then you entertain them, then you wrestle with them, then you engage with them, and then you feed them. You have a choice to choose your thoughts, you have a choice to choose your feelings, but you have to be aware, you have to be conscious. And the only way to do that is to get present, right? So if you've gotten to neutral and you feel like you have a little more room, really think to yourself, what is it that I want? This is where you get to have agency and choice. This is where we're empowered. I want to feel joyous. I want to feel, and hopefully I'm going to say it, I'm just going to go, I want to feel like a badass, okay? Choose that, choose that. But then that means you have to embody that. You have to show up that way, right? And so in pivoting and having that choice, right, there are a few things that can really help that along. One of that is thinking about service, right? If you're not motivated to pivot for any other reason, but service and creation are powerful ways to feel inspired to make the pivot. Because sometimes people are, well, why should I be the one doing the good work? Why do they get to get away with it? I'm like, I don't care, because they're not my client. You are. And I'm concerned with what you're doing. And that's all you should be concerned with. Make the pivot, because you want to be able to create and you want to serve at your fullest potential. Let that go ahead and be your motivation, right? Another great way to remind yourself of the pivot is, like I said, is you have choice, you have agency. This is a beautiful way to neutralize and cut through any guilt, resentment, or anger. I was working with my one client this morning, and she has resentment about all sorts of things, okay? Her business, having to be the breadwinner in her family. And I was like, you didn't have to do that. You made the choice to do that, right? In the same way, I had a client last year say, well, I hate working at Equinox, it's terrible. And I said, yeah, well then leave. And she's like, well, I can't. I have to, if I leave, I won't make money. I was like, well, then you're choosing to stay. And she's like, oh, wow. Right. So we want to eliminate any of the victim mentality, the resentment and the anger. You are not empowered when you're in that place. And I'm going to give props to Christian. He knows it will affect your physical health. It will absolutely affect your physical health, right? So we want to keep coming back to choice. And then the last thing, which I'll end here with, is another wonderful way to inspire the pivot and to go beyond neutral and to go into thriving is what Rachel said, is to go into gratitude, right? And I'll share 3 quick things because I'm watching the time. We're good, right? Cindy, Tiffany? Okay. We don't want gratitude to just be a fleeting emotion, okay? I would venture to guess everybody on here has had gratitude kind of come up and it goes, right? And maybe gratitude's been our mood where we're feeling jubilant and we're feeling enriched. We want gratitude to be a trait. So this comes from positive psychology, okay? Positive psychology talks about that if we can train our minds, for example, to choose our thoughts, choose our feelings, and we can cultivate gratitude on the regular, it actually becomes a state of being, the place from which we live and act and how we show up, as opposed to something fleeting or temporary. And so if you can, if nothing else from today, right, if nothing else, you can be neutral and cultivate your gratitude on the regular, you will find incredible shifts happen in your life. Because gratitude, when practiced regularly, begins to train the brain to see more of that which you are acknowledging. If you are constantly focusing on what's not working, what's terrible in your life, and not seeing, your place in it, you will see more of that and see more of that and attract more of that. When you focus on the gratitude, the minute details, okay? The things that you don't even know if you should be grateful for because it's so challenging, but if you can still find gratitude for the challenge to allow you to grow, your entire world will change in a very short period of time. The most important thing is consistent and cumulative, okay? These are all very simple things, and they're all incredibly effective and potent, but only if a person continues to commit and recommit to those ends. So I will take it to questions. Cindy, I will let you lead. I will have you do the honors.
Feel free, guys, if you have questions, to either unmute yourself like you guys did with Christian, or feel free to comment in the chat box.
While people are doing that, I do want to come back, let people kind of think about it. There was a comment made during Christian's presentation. I wrote it down here. It was Mindy. Mindy said, yeah, I know that I'm doing this and I'm creating this, right? And I was like, oh, yeah. Not only were we creating this, we're creating this, right? So I just wanted to say how powerful that was when she shared that. Is in the same way that you are creating your physical state, you are also creating your mental state over and over again. And you can shift it lovingly, right? We want you to do it lovingly and kindly. We don't want you to use it as an excuse to beat yourself up. Anastasia, how long do you recommend to meditate in the morning? That's going to vary for people, but I think the most important thing is for you to set up goals that you can measure, right? That have a time stamp on it and that you can actually meet. So for some people, that might mean, I'm going to begin 5 minutes in the morning, 3 days a week. I mean, back in the day, I used to do 90 to 120-minute physical asana classes, right? If I try to do that now, I don't have the time, and I don't have to. Like, you don't need to do that in order to have results. A little goes a long way. as long as it's consistent and you are able to meet that. So I would say start with 5 minutes, 3 or 4 days a week. I like for clients to start their day with some simple breathing and end their day so they have a cap to their day. And if you don't have a meditation practice in mind, I would say that just closing your eyes, as I did earlier, right, without the grounding, if you're just coming to presence, just focusing on the breath, right? And have the breath be the anchor. The breath becomes the focal point. So instead of, monkeying around with all of your thoughts and like what you're going to eat for dinner and what you didn't do today, keep coming back to the breath, and that will still the mind. And truly 5 minutes of that conscious breathing not only will help you train the mind to become still, but it will also help calm your nervous system, which will allow the grounding to take even greater hold. Yeah, and I saw Audra's question, so I don't know, Cindy, if you want to just copy and paste those from the chat, or I can send them to you. She was saying to email them. So either way, you can just let me know.
Just to confirm, it's 5 points, right? So grounding, get present, let it be, and let it go, strive for neutral, and pivot.
Oh yes. Wait. Yes, it is.
I'm like,
sorry about that.
Okay, so 5 points?
Yes. I was in the flow. Pivot has those three components, which is knowing you have choice, service and creation as an inspiration, and then gratitude.
Okay, so I'll just follow up with you then after this, and then what we can
perfect.
Do, Tiffany, Michelle, and Jen, maybe we can put together like a marketing piece of this or something like that.
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay.
And I'm going to go ahead and put in the chat my info in case anyone wants to contact me. It's my website, my email, and also my Instagram handle. And I'll also just mention, so starting 9 weeks ago, Compass Women, it's their regional, and it's actually all over the country. And they created a mindset group. So it's for everyone, men, women, people outside of Compass. I lead it on Mondays at noon. The replay goes out. So if anyone wants to get extra weekly doses, I do 30 to 45 minutes where I talk about some of these things, and I'll circle around on these lessons. So you can also email me, and I'll happily invite you to that if you want to kind of keep practicing with a group.
I just wanted to say thank you so much, because I
You're
need
welcome.
it. I'm like a crazy person with 1,000 thoughts all the time. Christian, don't laugh too hard.
Don't feel bad, Christian. I think everyone had the same thought.
But it's good to just be reminded, because I think we know what we are supposed to do on a daily basis, especially in this industry. It's just like every day you're encountering something that just takes you from 0 to 100. And so it's nice to be reminded that a lot of stuff is minuscule, and there's ways that we can deal with it and get past it.
Yeah, and one last thing I'll add before I completely, end is just you saying that, Cindy. It's like, I think just knowing that you operate that way. Everybody's going to operate differently, but for example, the way you operate, that's part of your area of genius, right? Nothing has to necessarily change except that you want to channel it, you want to manage it, right? So I'm also a big fan of nobody making the way they do things right or wrong, or feeling like, oh, I'm scattered or I'm this. It's like, no, you're great. It's like, how do we just rein it in, and how do we actually channel it? So just wanted to add that.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
You were terrific. Really, really. You're so articulate, and when you speak, you create pictures in my mind. I'm an artist, so I see it as it's unfolding that way. And yeah, choice is everything, right? So
it is.
We have to remember how to be in control of our mind more than anything. So
yeah,
thank you so much. It's really
You're
good.
welcome.
Good job, everybody.
Awesome. Tiff, did you want to add? Oh, okay. Do you want me to hand it back to you at all, or do you want me to hop right into the raffle?
Yeah, why don't you hop into the raffle, and then I'll kind of speak at the end.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Okay, guys. So as you guys know, with most ARIA events that we do, we always do kind of giveaways at the end, and we couldn't give out raffle tickets. So we're actually going to do a random name generator. So I put everyone's name into this thing. I'm going to share my screen right now. Okay, give me 1 second.
Is everyone eligible to win?
No, not bored. You didn't let me win ever, so okay. Give me okay, there we go. All right, can everyone see this okay? Okay,
Yeah.
so there's no board on here. It was just everyone else, and you do have to still be on here to win. So we're gonna give two $25 Amazon gift cards. So we're gonna have two winners, and these are from Aria LA Coastal. So I'm gonna pick a random name. And the winner is, where did it go? Oh, it's down here. Sherry Sada, are you still in here? If you are, claim your prize in the box.
Sherry Sada.
Sada, okay.
Yeah, Sherry Sada. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed every minute of this. And I have noted down the information of these two great speakers. I'm also 2020 president of Women Council of LA Beverly Hills. So I'm so glad that I got to know these two great speakers, and I may have to invite them to join us in our upcoming Zoom meetings. Rachel, it was so nice to see you, to see everybody. Mindy, it was so nice to see you guys.
Thank you for coming, Sherry.
That's
Thank
great,
you.
huh?
And thank you, Aria, for giving me this gift card. I love it.
Well, we can't give out food right now, so that's the next best thing.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen again, and then we're gonna do our second winner. Okay, let me.
So exciting.
Yeah.
The winner is Anastasia. Yay!
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 No way!
Woohoo! We're so happy for you. Okay.
Thank you so much. That is incredibly sweet and generous.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you so much for your support. I'll hand it over to Tiffany now. Tiffany?
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you to our amazing speakers for today, for all of the helpful tips. Thank you, Melanie, Christian. And I hope everyone on this webinar, you enjoyed the information and you can apply it into your week and your daily lives. So thank you again. Just a quick shout out to our amazing board of directors, all of you that are on this call, and our events chair, Cindy Tran, for helping us put this event together. As well as a big thank you to all of our sponsors, Citi, HSBC, American Trust Escrow, Chase, and Bank of America. We just wanted to thank you all again, and also stay tuned for more amazing webinars and content that we will be hosting again soon. So I hope you guys all have a great rest of your week, and we will see you all again soon.
Okay, everybody, stay safe and be
Love
well.
some feedback, so comment in the chat to let us know what you guys thought. We were kind of nervous because it was our first one. So,
oh, you did great. It was excellent. Excellent.
Oh, thank you so much.
5 stars.
That was
really
great.
good.
That was
Really
great.
good.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody.
Great job.
too.
Good job.
Bye. Thank you.
everyone.
So with everyone getting off, can we start making fun of Cindy now?
That rocked. You guys rocked that. That was
an
amazing.
awesome. That was very good. That was very good. Very impressed. And who knew that Christian was so well spoken?
That was amazing.
Awesome job, Christian. Thank you so much for.
You didn't bust out the turntables, man. I thought we were gonna have a happy hour after this.
I know.
Like mirrors already.
Hey, Christian.
Earlier, what someone was like, "Oh yeah, you guys should play music while you're doing." I was like, "Man, should I bust out the turntable?"
A lot of people are doing happy hours now.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really good. Very, very informative. Very
I
important.
like the content. I think a lot of people are doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Not necessarily our topics, but you know, everyone's been talking about the market and the state of the economy. But I like that you guys varied it up. So great job.
And you beat all the boards. You know, YPN is doing it on Wednesday. Have you guys seen it? There's like over 20 boards.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I'll have you seen that? I'm
No.
I have an email. I'll send it to you.
Okay.
It's from PV board and Beverly Hills board, and there's over 20 of them.
Wow.
Wednesday.
Oh, wow. And how
Yeah.
many speakers, Mindy?
Oh, I don't know. It's just a wellness like expo.
Yay, we won.
Yeah, you're before them. Good job. Excellent. It was so good. So
Oh, good.
Thank you so
good. Lucky you, Cindy.
I know. I was thinking the same thing. I saw that like table behind
I'm
it.
like, oh my God, you're so lucky. And he's handsome and smart too.
Oh,
I
yeah.
literally have like, I'm the worst girlfriend because I don't practice anything he teaches. Like he'll be working out right next to me and I'm just like, nice.
Oh, right, that you have a prop right next to you.
I know.
He was literally jump roping and I was just sitting on my phone on a beach chair.
Did you help him count?
On your like little vacation?
Like throwing goldfish at him. Here, babe, you're doing a good job.
Yeah, and like I always sit, like I always have my leg up. I'm never sitting like a normal person. I don't practice any, so I'm the worst. But I'll listen to Melanie though. I'll listen to Melanie.
That was a good one.
Isn't she? It's really easy to like understand her. She goes through it like so directly.
Well, she makes it present, you know,
Yeah.
that you're involved. It's not some
You guys laughed
esoteric.
at me when I told you that. You're like,
We did.
it really worked.
What is it about this part, Rachel, of doing it here? Because I do this all the time. I'm always doing this. But
But
what's
if you
this
have your
part?
feet on the ground and you're just holding your head, it like makes you very present.
Oh, okay.
And it helps me with anxiety.
This part here, though, versus just the back part.
Yeah. Yeah, both. So you're like,
Yeah.
you've got counter.
Is this like right above the lip?
Yeah. Right above the lip. Three fingers right above
It's
the
to
lip.
keep, Adam, it's to keep you from
Really?
making any comments.
Mindy, we're gonna block you.
So you can't make any extra comments.
Charles, you literally joined at
I know.
4:39.
I know. I'm like, I actually was driving. I could have listened to the whole thing.
Oh.